Hey there, welcome to John's Kitchen. My name is Kamal. On this channel we focus on making beautiful food and showing you guys the easiest way to make it at home. If that sounds good, you may want to consider subscribing and joining us for our weekly videos, which you don't want to miss out on. Believe me, they're good. So make sure you come back, guys. Please. So today I'm going to be showing you how to cook steak 101. That means it's going to be all things beef. I'm going to show you the easiest way to cook a steak at home. A massive thank you to Rashida for requesting this video. This one is for you. So the beef I'm actually using for this video is Australian beef. It's not Wagyu or anything fancy. It's just grain-fed, good quality beef. I would recommend if you're going to the supermarket to buy some beef, don't buy it from the aisle where you have the whole beef selection. I would suggest that you go to the butcher counter and you ask the resident butcher for their suggestion as to what beef you should buy. Usually the beef that you'll get from the beef section in the supermarket in the aisle will be the worst quality of beef that you can get. So my first tip is making sure that you don't buy the standard beef. So first step is to remove your beef from any packaging, place it onto a plate. Then I would recommend, this is an extra touch, you don't have to do this, is to place your beef back into the fridge for at least an hour to remove any excess moisture. So once you remove your beef from the fridge, you want to add some olive oil. The reason why you add the oil first is so that the seasoning that you put onto the beef will actually stick to it. So if you have a thicker piece of beef, I recommend after you add the oil, you add the salt. I would leave it at room temperature for at least 15 to 20 minutes so the salt can really penetrate deep into the beef. If you have a very thin cut of beef like you would usually get from the supermarket, then that is not essential because your beef is so thin, if you left it too long, it would actually start brining on the beef as opposed to seasoning the beef. Season your beef. So if you want to actually experience the pure quality of the beef, you don't want to overcomplicate it. You don't want to use anything like any garlic salt or lemon salt or truffle salt or whatever. Just use simple salt and pepper so you get the best quality and the best flavor from that beef. The next up is to get yourself a frying pan or a saute pan, whatever it is that you have available, and then you want to turn the heat to maximum as high as you can because you want to sear the beef as quick as you can because it's very thin. If the pan is not hot enough, it'll actually stew. You really want to make sure that you get that nice caramelization on each side of the beef. So once your pan is hot, you want to add your oil. Try not to use olive oil. Olive oil has quite a high sugar content, so it'll actually burn very quickly. So I would suggest using something a bit more neutral. So you can go for something like canola oil because you're going to be working with quite high temperatures. So once your oil begins to smoke, not become smoky or black or start a fire.
Nice. Watch it, hot, guys. Put salt.
But once you start to see some smoke coming from your oil, that's the perfect time to add your beef. So you want to add it, lay it away from you so you don't get any splashback from the hot oil. Safety first. This is the important step. Once you put your beef into the pan, you don't want to start messing around with it and turning it too soon. You want to leave it so it really gets that nice caramelization on each side. Once the beef is in the pan, don't touch it. You want to leave it on each side depending on how thick your beef is, but remember we're using the standard supermarket cut, so you want to leave it for, I would say, a minute and 30 seconds on each side. If you're cooking a minute and 30 seconds on each side, your beef will be cooked around the medium rare temperature. But if you prefer your beef to be a bit more well cooked, just leave it in the pan for a few more minutes. It's as simple as that. I'll leave the actual timings down below in the description box. So no matter if you want to have a rare, medium, or well done, we'll leave all that information down below in the description box just to give my wife a bit more work. So once your beef is finished cooking, at this point you've actually cooked it for a minute and a half on each side. It's better if you put it onto a resting rack so that the air can actually circulate around the beef and it can cool down more evenly. If you don't have a rack available, you can put it directly onto a plate. Just make sure that you turn it, I would say, every 30 seconds just to make sure that it can cool down as evenly as possible. When it comes to resting your beef, regardless of the size it's been cut, I would suggest you give it at least 8 minutes to rest. The proteins of the beef will relax, so that way when you cut into the beef, all the juices will not escape. But if you do not allow your beef to rest long enough, as soon as you cut into the beef, all the juices, all that flavor will just escape. So for the beef that I cooked here today, one was on the rare to medium rare side, which was for my wife, and for me I prefer more on the medium side. So literally for the medium rare one, that means that it was cooked for a minute and a half on each side and it was rested for 8 minutes. For the medium beef, I cooked it for roughly 2 minutes on each side and then rested for 8 minutes as well. And just to give you a comparison, you see that the beef that I'm slicing here was the one that I cooked medium. So you can see that this beef here is more on the pink side, as opposed to the beef that I showed you before has a more deep red color. So that's it guys, literally. So today I showed you how to make a perfectly cooked steak. So that was a minimal amount of time out of your day, and now you know how to cook a beautiful steak. So if you're having a dinner party or if you just want to cook that perfect steak for your loved one, now you can do it thanks to John's Kitchen. So for condiments for your beef, I mean, you can have whatever you want. You can have some roasted potatoes, you can have some fries. For us, just to keep it super simple, we're gonna have it with a nice fresh salad, nice and citrusy, so it cuts through the fat of the beef. It's a perfect meal for us. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you all for tuning in and staying here and watching this video all the way into the end. If you like the video, remember to give it a big like, smash the subscribe button. We really appreciate the support, and I'll see you here for the next one. Peace. As opposed to the beef I showed you before, has a more deep red kind of tint.